Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Joe with Phandroid, and today we're going to answer questions from you. I put out a call on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google+, and we've got way more questions than I can possibly answer in one video, but I did take a bunch of the good ones and some random silly ones, and we're going to answer those right now. So let's get started. Why do all Android phones not get the new OS updates, the way Apple does for the iPhone? So I think what you're asking is, why do old Android phones not get new versions of Android when old iPhones get new versions of iOS? The thing to remember is the fine print of those iOS updates. An old iPhone may technically be on the same version number as the new iPhone, but a lot of the new features of that OS update don't go to the older versions. And if you're wondering why Android phones don't all get updated at the same time like the iPhone, well, you're comparing an entire ecosystem of phones to one or two models. So if you would say, like, take the Pixel versus the iPhone, the Pixel gets updates right away, just like the iPhone gets updates right away. Is wireless charging going to catch on the way USB-C is? Why hasn't it already? I would say that question has already been answered. Wireless charging has been around long before USB Type-C, and it didn't catch on, so it already failed to do that. But I think one of the benefits of manufacturers trying to get rid of all ports suddenly could be a resurgence of wireless charging if they get rid of the charging port. Why do people want to see bezels disappear? Have they actually considered the potential negatives, or is it just an ooh, shiny effect? I do think it is an ooh, shiny effect, because phones look generally the same these days, and so whenever we see something that breaks the mold a little bit, like a phone with no bezels, it's very exciting. But it's not that practical, at least in my opinion. Whenever I see phones like the Xiaomi Mi Mix, I just ask myself, how do you hold it? I had the S7 Edge for a long time, and it was really awkward to hold and pick up off the table and stuff like that. So I do definitely think bezel-less phones look awesome, but I'm not sure they're the best to use, at least for me. What did you have for dinner last night? Mac and cheese. How do you get the latest news every time? I get my news from two places, Twitter being one, and two is an app called Early Bird News for Android, which takes news from all the Android blogs and curates it into a single stream, which is very helpful. Next Android version name. I think the obvious choices would be Oreo or oatmeal cream pie, but it seems like Google is going away from the branded names, and I can't really think of any good desserts that start with O that aren't brands. If you guys have any ideas for that, leave a comment below. Can't the LG G6 release later, but with the Snapdragon 835? So that question is about a recent report that Samsung is going to be hoarding all Snapdragon 835 processors. And yes, I think LG, they could wait for the 835, obviously. But the point is, they want to compete with the Galaxy S8. If everyone would just wait for the 835 to be available, Samsung would have no competition at all, and that's not something that competitors are going to let them do. Will Android ever find a solution to iMessage, and will Google ever stick with one messaging app instead of so many different apps that all do similar things? It's actually not as simple as a lot of people think. So iPhone can have iMessage because everyone is forced to use the stock messaging app, and so Apple knows that every text message is being sent by that app. Whereas in Google, you can download any variety of messaging apps to replace the stock one, and so that makes things a lot more complicated. Google could, force everyone to use Allo or something, and then they would be able to do it, but that's not really in the spirit of Android. I do think, however, that Google needs to get some kind of better solution. They just can't have all these random messaging apps. It makes no sense. What is the meaning of Phandroid? How did you come up with this name? So Phandroid, the name, was created by Rob Jackson, the founder of the site. And from my understanding, it's a play on the words phone and fans. So Android phone fans, Phandroid. What's your favorite, most innovative feature from any Android update? This isn't the most innovative by any stretch, but it's what popped in my head for some reason. Copy and paste. I remember when my first Android phone got copy and paste, where you could touch the word long press and highlight it and copy it, and that was like a pretty big deal. So we've come a long way since then. Best HTC phone you've used till date? HTC 10. Even though Google has created a great suite of apps for productivity purposes, what other apps would you consider to be the best for productivity? I use mainly two apps for productivity. One is just the Google voice commands. I'll say the command, I don't want to say it. Remind me to do such and such at this time or this place. And then the other one I use a lot is Wunderlist. I use that for making grocery lists and to-do lists and things like that. Do you even lift, bro? No, I don't. Why did Android choose to let OEMs and third parties build their own keyboards and launchers? Keyboards arrived in Android 1.5. I'm not sure when launchers arrived. I think that may have been something that you could do since the beginning. And I think it's just that is one of the core beliefs and core features of Android is that users can pick whatever app they want to perform stock functions. Could you show us the Phandroid office and how many members does Phandroid team have and what year did you start the website? Well, we all work remotely, so there's not like a Phandroid HQ, but I can show you my office, which is just this bedroom that hasn't been updated since the 70s, but it works great as an office. In terms of members of Phandroid, I think we have like 10 people. You can check our About Us page on Phandroid for more information about everyone that works here. And Phandroid has been around since 2007. We are the oldest Android blog on the internet, and this is actually our 10th year anniversary, so we'll probably have more about that later this year. That's going to do it for this edition of Q&A. I want to thank everybody for sending in all the questions. We appreciate it. If you like this type of video, be sure to let us know in the comments or leave a like on the video, and we'll try to do more in the future. But until next time, check out these other videos and subscribe to the Phandroid channel for more. We'll see you later.